All right, so Joey, we've been on the road for how many days now?
Oh, I think 10 days. This is the 10th day.
So 10 days. Have we had any disagreements?
No, just got separated there one day, and that was just a little bit of confusion and
Yeah, that was
overthinking
in
a situation and
that was on the way to
Salmon River, Riggins.
yeah, on the way to Riggins, Idaho. Google Maps got froze, and I wasn't paying attention, just enjoying the ride. And I went straight, should have turning right. So we had about 30 minutes of playing catch up, trying to find each other again. And then, what's been your most memorable experience so far?
The most memorable?
Yeah. What's one thing that sticks out in your mind?
Uh, well, today Beartooth Pass, because I've always wanted to do that for at least the last 4 years.
Yep.
So I had to wait 4 years to come back and do it, or 3 years to come back and do it.
Yep.
Um,
What'd you think about Yellowstone yesterday?
that's true. Yellowstone at sunset, or I guess twilight hours, six to nine, was
Yeah,
awesome.
that was good.
In fact, the direction we were going was probably the direction you want to ride or drive, because people were going west, not east.
Yeah, that's right. The sun's at your back.
The sun was at our back,
Yeah.
and we didn't have to fight the sun in our eyes.
I think the most difficult day that we had was on our way up to from Stanley to Warm Lake, and we had 45 miles of fun dirt, except for the last 5 miles. It was dirt, or it was mud, and then it was sand. And there's a creek crossing. That's probably the most difficult day, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's actually the day that we got separated too for a while too,
Oh, that's right.
because
That's
we were on
right.
our way to
Yep.
Riggins,
Yep.
and we were trying to cut off across Warm Lake to save some time, and we had to run, what did we say?
45 miles
Well,
back.
well, yeah, 40 miles back. So we did 80 miles of dirt that was unnecessary,
Right.
and another 30. So that added 110. We would turn that day into a 325-mile day.
Yeah. But it's still fun though, seeing the backcountry of Idaho.
Yeah, no,
And
that
then
was
we
good.
we combined with the Idaho BDR, and then also we hit the Idaho BDR again. Um,
Going from Avery, that wasn't.
no, going from the Salmon River, up to Grangeville.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we hit the BDR there, and that was a fun ride.
That was actually very good.
Yeah. So
Not
then, so we left on a Thursday. Got an Airbnb in Amarillo, and then Friday went from Amarillo to Sugar Wright Canyon, and then Duke met us there.
right.
And then Saturday we rode Cordova Pass in Colorado, which is on the Transamerica Trail. Um, and then we stayed at Duke's. We cooked hot dogs in the park in La Vita. Then we went to Pagosa Springs and stayed at Duke's house. Went out to eat that night with him. That was Saturday, right? Then
Yes.
Sunday
Saturday.
we left Duke's. We went to Three Step Hideaway with Scott and Julie.
Yeah,
They own Three Step Hideaway.
that was a relatively easy. It was a little over 200 miles from what I remember, right?
Now, I think it's like 165 miles.
Yeah, I know it wasn't
Yeah.
too bad.
And so that was Sunday. Then Monday, we went from Three Step Hideaway to the Idaho border, Utah Idaho border. Went through Salt Lake City, just some interstate that day. But we had some ground to cover, and we camped out at Curlew Campground. And that ended up being, we had some rain there for a couple hours, but they had
We had our midnight snack.
that's right, that's right, at Curlew we laid down in our hammocks at around 9 o'clock. Woke up about, because it was raining, and so woke up about 11 o'clock, 11:30 at that night, and it stopped raining, so we went ahead and cooked our supper. What do we have for supper?
Ramen noodles.
That's right, ramen noodles and chicken.
Ramen noodles.
and that was Sunday night. No, that was Monday night, right?
Yeah.
And then so then on Tuesday, we went from Curlew Campground to Stanley, Idaho, and then we camped out at Redfish Lake, just outside of Stanley. And then at about 7 o'clock, it was starting to rain, getting really cold. I thought, we're just going to sit here in our hammocks all night. Let's go get a hotel room. So we went to Stanley and got a hotel room there, and then ate at the restaurant there, and
It was nice and warm.
it was nice and warm. So that was Tuesday. Then Wednesday we got up and did the route from Stanley to Warm Lake to ended up at Riggins, or on the Salmon River outside of Riggins. Then on Thursday we went from Riggins to Orofino to Dent Acres Lake, Idaho, or Dent Acres Campground, which is on Horseshaw Reservoir, I believe.
Horseshaw, yeah.
And met a couple of interesting people there. Then on Friday, we went from Den Acres Campground to Avery, Idaho, and had a really cool campground. We ate pizza there in Avery at TFP's, which stands for the Fire Pit Crew. And then we camped about 10 miles east of Avery in the forest, and that was really. There's a cave about 100 yards above us. We were wondering what was in that cave. And then
Well, didn't one guy think that it might be a mine shaft?
might be a mine shaft, yeah, because we were off Prospect Creek, so it could have been a mine shaft. And then the next day we got up, and it was just pouring. It was raining, cold. We did the river road along the St. Joe River.
Kevin helped me pack because I was just not moving very well that day.
Yeah, we were all just kind of slow that day. And then we got up on top of the mountain of where Idaho and Montana borders. And then at the Montana border, it turns to dirt. And then we also got up in some fog where the cloud cover, we're in the clouds. So visibility's decreasing. Then we go on this dirt road. But it was okay. We thought there's some.
It's a little chilly too, but heated gear definitely came in handy.
Yeah. We both have the warm and safe heated shirts underneath our climb Carlsbad jackets and our climb Carlsbad pants. Which again, that gear is just works. It just works. Then I got my Moscow Moto jacket on that I had over my warm and safe. So it's about 42 degrees going up to Little Joe. And then went into St. Regis at Jasper's and had huckleberry pancakes. Do that every year. Wonderful. And then so from there we went down to Camp Sula. And that's where we met Wendy and Kenny, the owner. Wendy's the manager. Her and her husband take care of the place. And did some fly fishing there. And where else did I fly fish at?
You didn't you fly fish on the Salmon River? No.
No.
It was before that.
Oh, is that Lake Redfish?
Yeah.
Or Redfish River, yeah.
Yeah. Redfish Creek.
Yeah, Redfish Creek, yeah. So then we
that's when you sent me to go shopping.
That's when I sent you. That's right.
You sent me to go shopping so you could go fishing.
That's right. Sent Jerry to go shopping so I could go fishing, and then we went.
Or provisioning, I guess.
Yeah. Then at Camp Sula, we provisioned in Lolo, Montana, and which is just south of Missoula. Had to go into Missoula to get a. What do I have to get at Best Buy?
Cards, memory cards.
How did I get an SD card? Because I'm using the Insta360, the GoPro, and my iPad filled up from the video, so I'm going to have to take care of that when I get home. And then went from Camp Sulu, and that was the day before. That was yesterday.
Well, at Camp Sula, we met we met the people that own it, but they told us about a lot of the people, actors, and I guess staff or key staff that come in there for Yellowstone.
Yeah, because she mentioned Taylor Sheridan will stop in and get snacks. Teeter stays there when they're filming. They're usually filming right now, but they're not filming right now because of the writer's strike. So then we left Camp Sulu and went over to Wisdom, Montana. We got too late for breakfast, so we had lunch there, and then went through Jackson, Montana to Dillon, and then from Dillon we went through Virginia or Nevada City, and then Virginia City, Montana, which is Virginia City was or Nevada City was the Providence uh, headquarters, so for the Montana Territory back then. And then went from there to we had a campground. Howdy, look at that golden. There's a few. There's a few mosquitoes. Yep, sure is.
I think I've donated enough blood.
Yeah, I have too.
We're trying to run them off with the smoke right now.
I hope it works.
Yeah. So then we couple came out walking their dog, and then we had a campground at Greek Creek, which is just about 6 miles north of Big Sky, Montana. We got there, it was just pissing rain, and so we found our campsite, but it's right next to the highway. But it's on a river, but it's right next to the highway, and there's or it's a 2-lane road, but it's still the main thoroughfare from Big Sky up to Bozeman, Montana. So let's just go down to Big Sky, go to a restaurant, get something to eat and drink, and that way we get internet, look at the weather, and we can just tell that it's supposed to snow last night or night before, yeah, last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. We're at our campground, and so the low is going to be like 27 degrees. So we called an audible. So okay, we're 138 miles from Cook City. We pulled up on the internet, found a hotel room in Cook City at the Soda Butte Lodge, Lodge.
Well, we made that decision like at 5:30, something like
We
that.
made the decision at 5:30, so we knew we were going to be getting to Yellowstone we're about 40 miles from Yellowstone. We got gas at West Yellowstone, and then we entered the park, and then we had we met the park ranger police, and there was a truck that was off on the side of the road. A wrecker was there, so the track was backed up. We were the third people in line, so the traffic going west, they're flowing, and so then the policeman stopped them, and he motioned for us to come on, and the lady in front, she's looking at her cell phone, wasn't paying attention. So Jerry goes around the car here, and I go around this way, and then the other policeman sees us, and he thought we came all the way up, passing traffic. So, man, he was pretty hot, and so he pulled us over, gave us both a warning, said, okay, if you get pulled over again, then this is going to be a ticket, and whatever you're doing wrong is going to be a ticket there. So we were on our best behavior through the rest of Yellowstone. So we went across the north loop, so to speak, and then came out the northeast entrance of Yellowstone to Cook City. And we basically had the park to ourselves. I mean, we had just very minimal traffic. It was the best experience I've ever had at Yellowstone. And then being there at dusk with the way the sunlight's hitting the mountains and things, I think it's just perfect, don't you?
Mm-hmm. It was. I was thinking that if and when we come back, I come back at least with Mina, we may try and do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was just beautiful. I mean, in the buffalo on the northeast entrance, where that herd is, they're all down feeding. They weren't on the road like they are in the middle of the day. And then we pulled into Cook City. It was about 9:20, and it's starting to get dark. And
it was cold.
And it was cold. It was about 40 degrees. And so I got up about 4 o'clock this morning for a minute, and I checked the weather at our campground at Greek Creek, and it was 27 degrees. So we made a good call. That ended up being a good call. We gave up $12, but hey, it helps the parks, and so that's okay. And then that was 401 miles. But man, it was just a beautiful day, beautiful ride. It's all back roads, 2-lane skinny blacktop roads. It's just beautiful.
And we did probably 140 miles of that between 6 and 9 p.m.
Yes, that's right.
But the sun doesn't set until after 9.
Right, sun goes out about 9:30 or so. So we hit it just perfect, and almost hit a deer in Yellowstone. I was looking at my GoPro and I looked up, and there's a deer in the middle of the road. So Lord took care of that. And so, anyways, and then I had a good night's sleep last night, nice and warm and toasty at the Soda Butte Lodge, and then went across Beartooth Pass today. And what do you think about the difference between the west side and the east side of Beartooth Pass? West side, we're coming up
I thought
on the.
I thought the east side seemed like it was a little more scenic when we were coming down, but maybe I was, you know,
Yeah, because you got those big vistas.
you get those big vistas that you have.
Versus going up is kind of more technical.
But going up, you could look back over in your rearview mirror, and you can actually kind of see some of the Yellowstone
Yeah, you look
landscape.
at the yeah,
look at like the Beartooth Peak.
Yeah, yeah, and interesting at Wisdom, Montana. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met a guy, Buffalo Bill, an ADV rider, and he has a campsite in Idaho, not far from Salmon. So he invited us to come up next year to stay at his campsite. And anyway, so yeah, went to Red Lodge and saw the some of the devastation from the flood. And we're talking to a guy at the restaurant, and he said it was exactly a year ago, last Tuesday, that the flood happened. And I got a couple pictures of the hotel. It still has debris in it. And then went from there down here to Medicine Lodge in Wyoming, and you know, it was a flawless day. And as soon as we left Red Lodge, though, the storms moved in over Beartooth Pass, so we hit that just right, going early in the morning. And so anyway, so that pretty much sums up the trip thus far. Maybe we'll give an update at the Airbnb and border, see if anything interesting happens. Anything else?
No,
you can think of?
Not that I can think of. You covered it all. So.
Yeah. All right. The latest installment of the Kevin and Jerry Show. We are camping at Lake Isabel, which is outside of Rice City, Colorado. And so our last conversation was at Medicine Lodge Archaeological Site in Wyoming. So we left, had a great camp out, we had noodles that night. We have noodles?
No, we had steaks that night.
Oh, no, we had steaks and frozen vegetables and rice at Medicine Lodge. Jerry caught 2 fish. I caught 0.
Well, Kevin told me there were no fish. And within 5 minutes, I had 1 fish on, and he said, "No way." So filmed it. He took a picture of it. And then he said, "Well, that was the lucky one." And then 5 minutes later, or not even 5 minutes later,
not even 5 minutes,
I had another fish on.
Yeah, I think it's the same fish he caught twice.
No, I don't think so.
But anyway, so I'll put a picture up here of the fish. And so anyway, so we got up that morning. It never rained. We had our tarp set up before it rained, but it never rained. It got down to probably 55 degrees. We left the campsite at Medicine Lodge and went up we stopped in Worland at the McDonald's there, had breakfast there. And then from Worland, we headed our way to Rawlings, Wyoming. And man, we got caught in road construction. And then the wind.
Oh my God, 30-mile-an-hour wind all the way across.
All the way across. 30
or 40 mile an hour.
At least, yeah. 30 mile plus. And then, so we ate lunch in Rawlins. And I had chicken fried steak. Jerry had something healthy, tofu or something like that.
I had a pastrami sandwich.
Yeah.
No, I had a Reuben. Reuben's what I had.
And then we made our way to Laramie, Wyoming. And from there you head south because our next camp out was at Red Feather Lake in Colorado, about 45 miles northwest of
Colorado.
Fort Collins. So we got gas in Laramie, And as far as provision, we had a big lunch. We had big breakfast, big lunch. So all we needed last night was just ramen noodles and chicken. And he had Spam in his ramen noodles. I don't know why you do that.
Well, best thing ever.
Okay, he's Army major, so obviously he's going to say Spam is good. And so we camped out at Red Feather
Nothing
Lake.
like a good pork snout to make your day.
Pork snout and pork tongue. And anyway, so we got to the first campsite, which was West Lake.
Yeah, they were full.
And every campsite was full. I was like, uh-oh. So we had just enough Wi-Fi. We went to Dowdy Creek camp, or Dowdy Lake.
Dowdy Lake.
Dowdy Lake campsite. And there was two campsites that were open, so we grabbed the first one. And so we cooked noodles last night, had a good night's sleep. It got kind of cold. We both talked about it next morning.
Well,
it's kind of cold.
You slept good. I had a wake up when I got cold, had to go fix my hammock in the middle of the night.
And you were on the ground.
I was on the ground. My headlamp died, and I'm out there fixing it with my phone light. But all's good.
Yeah, so we got up, was that this morning? Yeah, that was this morning.
This morning.
And then we went from there about 20 miles to I-25. And I-25, it was 200 miles of just a slog. I mean, it was just traffic. It's I-25 and through Denver. And but we want to get the camp early. We got here about 2:30, and it started getting hot. So we provisioned in Pueblo at this Walmart Market Center store, and you picked out a couple or one steak or a couple steaks.
I got 2 fillets. They're about 8 ounces each.
So 2 filet mignons, and then we got frozen vegetables. We're gonna cook some rice with that. That's kind of our staple. And then we wetted down our undergarment. We were both wearing Climb -1. Wetted those down, and it got kind of cool. I mean, it's 93 degrees, but it was kind of cool with that wetness on us. And then came down to Colorado City, and then you go up into the mountains. And right now we're at about 8,700 feet, and camped right next to a river. We both took a bath in the river. And right now it hadn't any rain today. Right now it's probably what, 65 degrees, 70,
70 probably.
probably 70. And so we're gonna cook some good food tonight.
As soon as that sun goes down, it'll cool off.
Yeah. And then we're gonna make a way to from here to Border, which we have an Airbnb there, and then on our way home.
Yeah, this last night of camping.
Last night of camping.
So here's to great camps.
Great camps, great friends, and Jerry and I, in 16 days, we haven't had one disagreement. We haven't had one, when I zing, he zings, or whatever. And it's just been wonderful. He's been a great camp traveling partner.
I will say this, following you on I-25 in the traffic was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, because my
Kevin goes into this mode of, I'm one with the highway, and
yep,
there's nobody following me.
Yep. My philosophy on traffic is you are the lead dog. Stay ahead of everybody. And so anyway, but I tell you what though, this time next year, I-25 through Denver is going to be like 5 lanes on both sides.
No.
I mean, I'm assuming it looks like they got most of it done now. But
yeah, it is improved because we come up here every Christmas. My family's mostly up here, and part of the family lives in Fort Collins. So we have to go up to Fort Collins through all that construction. And it wasn't that bad today.
It wasn't. Now, northbound was a lot worse.
No.
But that's why we was make our loop, go through the southern part of Colorado, come around through the heart of Idaho, Wyoming, or Montana, Wyoming, and then southbound I-25 is not that bad. But northbound though, there's a lot of traffic on northbound.
Yeah. I've got to figure out if I can do this next year because Mina wants to come back up and go do Yellowstone and Glacier. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you're retired. You got nothing but time.
I know that.
So anyway, so this will probably be this will be the last campsite video of the Kevin and Jerry show. So good job, brother.
Yeah.